In today's video, I'm going to show you how I took this old Mercury Optimax cowling and refurbished it from this to this. Here's a close-up of the pre-work, the disaster that the stickers and the paint and everything else is. And you can see that it's a bit of a mess. So it was a little bit of an effort to convert it and clean it up, but let me show you how I did that. The key difference in this video from the other cowling video that I've done is I'm going to be using Duplicolor. So I'm not using Mercury paints. Duplicolor doesn't do a Mercury paint, but they do a black, so we're going to use that. We're going to use their primer, which is a high build primer to fill in scratches. I'm also going to be doing a lot of sanding and a lot of work on the gouges using fair and compound. But after that, I'll be using the primer, using the color, and then the clear coat from Duplicolor. Before I do that, hit the subscribe button, mash the bell button, and you'll get notifications when I put up videos in the future. So before we go any further, a fair word of warning. This did not turn out as I expected it to. We did finally get this finished, and I'll explain that later. But the Duplicolor paint, using it was probably not a good idea. And if you watch this to the end of the video, you'll see why it wasn't a good idea and what happened, and I'll lay out a plan on how we fix that. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is disassemble the unit. Of course, we're going to take it off and we're going to disassemble it. Right after we finish disassembling it, we're going to take all these old stickers off. I'm going to use the 3M rubber wheel. I've found that to be the easiest way. I might try some heat just for grins, but the 3M rubber wheel will take these stickers off in no time at all. So if you're doing an Optimax and you're taking the vent off, there's 4 bolts that got to come out. There's 2 here. These are easy to get to. Just lift this up. And there's some right underneath here. Now this one has a cap I took off already. There's a shot of that cap. Next thing I'm going to do is sand. All of the sanding is going to be done with 220 grit sandpaper. So there are 2 areas on either side of the cowling that have gouges in them. The gouges are from the ski rack, ski pole, or whatever you would. But I took it off. I still have it in the boat. Basically, it's a triangle that you can put your ski rope onto. And unfortunately, with this boat and that engine, the engine's kind of big, so when you turn the engine, it actually hits those poles, which is why I took them off. But let's get that filled in. Fair and compound yellow and blue. Believe it or not, this fair and compound, it's about 2 years old and it's still going strong. I still use it. There's a lot of different things you can use it for. And this is a piece of trash, by the way. So. All right, we got a nice even consistency of green. Get it in here and zoom this in. I'll probably have to go over this twice because there's going to be little recesses that are left behind. It's okay. Now what I'll do is once this cures, I'll sand it and I'll go over it one more time. And then we're on to priming. All right, everything's sanded down. Fair and compound's in. Now it's time to rinse it down, get it ready for a first coat of primer. I do want to point one thing out. These little grooves, I didn't sand in there. What I did is I put these in my blast cabinet, which is loaded with 100 grit aluminum oxide, and just lightly hit it just to break up the gloss, so it'll take primer. So I'm gonna go ahead and wash this stuff down. Ammonia, Dawn, and water. Next step is another coat of primer. One last final sanding. I'm going to do this by hand. I don't want to take the primer down too far. By now all the scratches should be filled in, and once we get through with the sanding, we're going to clean it and we're going to go ahead and put color coats on. Alright, so all the sanding is done. It's time to put on 2 color coats. I'll put these on carefully. I don't want them to sag, and definitely don't want them to go on too dry and create a dusty look. So here we go. Finally, it's going to be the Duplicolor clear coat. Now, they advise to put on the clear coat within an hour after putting on the color coat. So you want the color coat to be a little sticky. Basically, if it's underneath an hour, it should be, but you might want to adjust for that depending on humidity and temperature. So I'm going to wait 30 minutes and I'm going to go ahead and put it on. So after all that careful prep and application, I ended up with a bumpy surface. Now, I'm not new to this. I've done cowlings before with different paints. You can go to this video right here and see an example of one that I've done in the past. This one just came out, it's a real mess. Stayed within the parameters of the paint. It was about mid-80s. The humidity may have exceeded a little bit. I think we were at 72% humidity, but still, just this paint would not lay down flat. I would get a nice sheen coat and it would just bubble up, or orange peel, whatever you want to call it. But let me tell you what it looks like. I would get it on nice and flat, and it would just settle into this pattern. And this is even after sanding the primer to a smooth finish, very smooth finish. So not sure why this happened or not, but this is salvageable. So what I did was I sanded this with 600, subsequent 600, 800, 1000. Then I polished it. So this is salvageable. It's just going to add some extra time to the whole refinishing process. Can't say I'm very happy with the Duplicolor stuff. As I said, I've done this before with manufacturer paints and Spray 2K. I've gotten a smooth, glossy finish without any intervention, if you will. So that's what I'm going to be doing now. I'm going to be sanding this 600, 800, then 1000, and then compounding it. Alright, so you can see why using this Duplicolor paint was a bad idea and what the results were. I've laid out a plan to fix it. I'm going to do that in the next video. But anyway, I hope this has been helpful to you. I think a lot of the techniques and things that I showed you here for the prep work before the paint up to the priming and sanding are valid. So I hope this video has been helpful to you. If it has, hit share and like. Don't forget to subscribe, and thanks for watching.